Today we're diving into a fascinating story, the rise and fall of Europe's tech ambitions. Despite a rich history of innovation, world-class universities, and groundbreaking discoveries, Europe lags behind Silicon Valley and Asia in building tech giants that shape our digital world. So, what went wrong? Why did Europe's legacy in pioneering technology not translate into global tech dominance? And what does the future hold for this continent known for innovation? Stay tuned as we uncover the surprising truths behind Europe's struggle to conquer the tech industry. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an eye-opening deep dive. Let's get started. Europe's contribution to the digital revolution cannot be overstated. The continent has been a birthplace of foundational ideas and groundbreaking inventions that shaped the modern world. Think of Alan Turing, whose work laid the groundwork for computer science during World War II, or Tim Berners-Lee, who invented the World Wide Web at CERN in Switzerland, an invention that transformed global communication and commerce. Beyond computing, Europe's industrial revolution spurred engineering excellence. Companies like Nokia and Ericsson emerged as global leaders in telecommunications, while giants like Siemens and Philips pioneered electronics and industrial technology. The aerospace industry thrived with Airbus challenging Boeing's dominance, and automotive innovations from Germany's BMW and Mercedes-Benz set standards for engineering excellence worldwide. In the late 20th century, European companies like Nokia and Ericsson dominated the mobile phone industry. Nokia in particular was the world's largest vendor of mobile phones during the early 2000s. Similarly, Airbus became a serious challenger to American aerospace dominance. These successes showcased Europe's ability to innovate and manufacture at the highest levels. However, as the 21st century unfolded, the continent's digital landscape began to look very different, marked by the ascendancy of American and Asian tech giants. Europe's once dominant companies faded from the spotlight, and new global leaders emerged elsewhere. The current state of Europe's tech industry. Today, the most visited websites in the world are almost exclusively American or Asian, with European companies barely making a dent. For example, Google, Facebook, TikTok, and Amazon are ingrained in daily life globally, but Europe's own tech firms, aside from a handful like SAP, ASML, and Spotify, remain relatively obscure. European tech's strengths. Despite the relative absence of European giants, the continent remains a hub of innovation and excellence. Premier education and research institutions, universities like Oxford, Cambridge, ETH Zurich, and the Sorbonne produce top-tier talent in science, engineering, and technology. Advanced industrial sectors, Germany's automotive industry, BMW, Mercedes, aerospace, Airbus, and rail infrastructure are industry leaders. Scientific leadership, CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, pioneered the World Wide Web and continues to be at the forefront of scientific research. The ITER project aims to develop fusion energy, positioning Europe as a leader in clean energy innovation. Sustainable energy and infrastructure. Nearly 24% of Europe's electricity is generated from renewables, with Denmark leading the charge in wind energy. European cities like Stockholm, Amsterdam, Berlin, and Zurich rank highly for livability, quality of life, and innovation ecosystems. Yet when it comes to consumer-facing digital platforms, social media, cloud services, online marketplaces, Europe's presence remains limited. The missing piece, consumer tech. However, when it comes to consumer-facing digital platforms, social media, cloud services, e-commerce, the continent is largely absent. Swedish Spotify, German SAP, and Dutch ASML are successful but niche players. They do not command the global user base or market capitalization of their American counterparts. The market power of US and Asian tech giants. The contrast becomes even starker when comparing market caps. The top US tech companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, are worth trillions of dollars, collectively exceeding the GDPs of major European economies. 7 US giants alone reached a combined valuation of $13 trillion in 2024, nearly matching the entire GDP of Germany, the UK, France, and Italy combined. In Asia, firms like Tencent, Alibaba, Samsung, and BYD have created some of the world's most influential tech brands, especially in mobile, social networking, and e-commerce. These companies have leveraged enormous domestic markets, aggressive investment strategies, and supportive government policies to scale rapidly. Europe's struggle to compete. Europe's inability to produce comparable global giants raises critical questions. Despite having the right ingredients, talent, infrastructure, capital, something has prevented the continent from translating these strengths into dominant consumer tech companies. Why has Europe fallen behind? Several interrelated factors have contributed to Europe's relative digital stagnation. First, fragmented markets and regulatory barriers. Unlike the United States, a unified single market, Europe comprises 27 countries, each with its own regulations, languages, and policies. This fragmentation complicates scaling startups across borders, adding legal, logistical, and cultural hurdles. Case in point, Uber's European expansion faced fierce resistance. Regulatory hurdles, local taxi union protests, and court rulings led to bans in countries like Germany, France, and Spain. The European Court of Justice later upheld bans, exemplifying how national regulations can stymie innovative business models. Second, conservative regulatory environment. Europe's stringent data privacy laws, most notably the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, are praised for protecting consumers' rights, but have also raised compliance costs for startups and established companies alike. Impact. Small firms find it difficult to navigate the legal overhead, discouraging rapid experimentation. Larger companies face hefty fines. Meta, for example, faced billions in GDPR-related penalties, which can hinder strategic agility and innovation. Third, risk-averse venture capital culture. European venture capital tends to favour safer, enterprise-focused investments, such as health tech, fintech, or SaaS, rather than high-risk consumer tech startups. This cautious approach limits the emergence of disruptive, consumer-centric companies. Funding disparity. In 2020, European startups received roughly 54% less venture funding than their US counterparts relative to GDP. Consequently, fewer European startups reached the scale necessary to become global giants. Fourth, talent drain and brain drain. Europe's brightest minds often leave for the US, seeking better funding, more dynamic startup ecosystems, and a culture of risk-taking. Over the past decade, the percentage of European science graduates working outside Europe has surged from 49% to 73%. Result: this brain drain deprives Europe of experienced entrepreneurs and engineers capable of building and scaling global tech platforms. 5. Cultural attitudes toward failure. In the US, failure is often seen as a valuable learning experience, an essential part of innovation. In many European cultures, failure is stigmatized, discouraging entrepreneurs from taking the bold risks necessary to create revolutionary consumer tech. Effect: a risk-averse mindset hampers the kind of experimentation and resilience required for breakthrough innovations. Europe's strategic responses and opportunities. Despite setbacks, Europe is not standing still. The continent has launched initiatives aimed at bolstering its technological sovereignty. European Chips Act, 2022. A €43 billion investment to strengthen semiconductor manufacturing and reduce dependence on Asia and the US. Digital Markets Act, 2023. Targeting big tech gatekeepers like Google and Meta to promote fair competition. AI Act, 2024. The world's first comprehensive artificial intelligence regulation, setting standards for transparency and safety. The Brussels Effect. European regulations often become global standards because of their comprehensive scope and influence. The Brussels Effect, as dubbed by legal scholar Anu Bradford, suggests that Europe's regulatory standards tend to set the global norm, an indirect form of influence that can shape tech development worldwide. The bright spots and future potential. Europe's small but growing startup ecosystem includes innovative projects like Estonia's fully digitized government services, France's burgeoning health tech sector, and the Netherlands' critical role in semiconductor manufacturing via ASML. Moreover, Europe's focus on building strategic industries, like semiconductors, indicates a shift from simply copying Silicon Valley to cultivating a uniquely European approach to technological sovereignty. The road ahead is challenging. Building consumer tech giants requires a cultural shift toward risk-taking, increased venture funding, and unified regulations that facilitate scaling. Bridging the talent gap and fostering a vibrant startup culture remain vital. Building the future, not just regulating it. Europe's past as a global innovator and builder of foundational technologies is undeniable. But in the digital age, success hinges on more than regulation and research. It depends on the daring culture of entrepreneurship, risk acceptance, and global ambition. While Europe may have missed the first wave of digital dominance, it possesses the ingredients to shape the next chapter if it can harness its strengths and overcome its structural weaknesses. The question is whether Europe will choose to simply regulate the future or actively build it. As the world watches, Europe stands at a crossroads. Will it become a rule maker and standard setter, influencing global norms through regulation and innovation, or will it remain a follower in the digital race? The answer will define its role in the coming decades. So, what's next for Europe? Its past as an innovator is undeniable. The future depends on fostering daring entrepreneurship, increasing risk appetite, and unifying markets.